Peace, Rock City. How's it going, bro?
Yo,
Peace, ShowRocka.
What's going on?
How are you, man?
I'm great, man. I'm having a great day today. How about you?
That's good. I'm in Toronto. Weather is fantastic, man.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, man. And how's the weather over there?
It's actually good. It was a little chilly tonight,
Yeah.
but, you know,
Yeah.
first day of summer, so we're getting ready. The sun is shining.
Nice,
so,
nice.
Nice out here.
Nice, man. How is this our first time talking? You know, how's your week been? You know, I like to start, like, you know, on a homey level. How's your week been, man?
Honestly, it's been a great week.
Yeah.
I just got named as one of the top 8 finalists in the Snipes Challenge, so I might be able
Wow.
to win some new studio equipment.
Oh.
I got all my people
Wow.
and everything. So, like I said, I got a lot of good news this week, so it's been a good week so far.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, you're always in the challenges, man. You know, submitting verses and stuff. You're killing it, bro. Just to let everyone know, I'm going to introduce you, you know, to those on my side that may not know you, although I think there's probably a big overlap in followers. The way I learned about you, well, I already knew about you, but what really kind of made me say I have to interview you was your Ivy League rap submission. I heard that, and I'm like, yo, I got to interview this guy without hearing much of anything else, to be honest with you. You know, it was so clean and so well written. I was like convinced, like, I don't need to hear much more. I will check your catalog, which I have. You know, we'll get into it, but yeah. Yeah, man.
I know you do a deep dive, pause, but the thing, I pride myself in my pen. So
Yeah.
that means a lot, especially because it was the Ivy League raps. Now,
Yeah.
I had heard of the platform beforehand,
Yeah.
but a dude that I'm familiar with from the internet streets was making the beats, and because it was called Ivy League Raps, I'm a graduate myself, so I was like, yo,
right,
perfect. I gotta pop in on this. I got the pen from pen. That's what I say. So I had to
that's perfect alignment, man. I want to get into that, your background and you as an assistant professor. We're gonna get there slowly. I got an agenda here, you know. So,
no problem. So I like
how's my audio, by the way? Is it okay?
You perfect.
I'm okay. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna give you a proper introduction. I mean, you've made recent appearances at Punchline Academy. You have appearances on Connecticut's bars on I-95. I mean, these are big deals. As I said, from my observation, you're entering contests left, right, and center, and you're placing really well, if not winning them. You know what I mean? We can get into that. We will get into that if that's cool with you. You're assistant professor at Pendelum Ink, first school of its kind for aspiring rappers. It's not just to up your skills, but there's also business acumen involved in that, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
And we're definitely gonna get into that. I'm really looking forward for you to impart some wisdom on me, to be honest with you, and the rest of the people tuning in. And by the way, that school was started by Mickey Fax and Chilla Jones. You know, just in case people don't know by now. Yeah.
Fax, Chilla Jones, Comic Book Cam, and Rap Seminar Rob, and Rhymecology. The 5 of them form like Voltron.
Wow.
Of course, the most well-known are Mickey Fax and Chilla Jones because they're rappers, you know, but long.
Yeah. But even rappers need a supporting cast, you know, to get the job done, right?
That know how to do all the other shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'm also reading you were a tour opener for CL Smooth in 2002. You've opened for Mickey Fax, of course, 38 Special. Let me know if I'm wrong in what I'm saying here.
Yeah, that was 38 Special.
Yeah, that happened or that's coming up?
That just happened, I think it was like a week ago. It was up in Brooklyn. Great show out there. A lot of people popped in. A lot of random people that I didn't even know were going to be there. Just were in the building. Like I ran in the Graph.
Wow.
You know, lovely Leticia from the Franchise Report was in there. Nature came and did his iconic verse from Banned from TV. Like, you don't get that all the time. So, like, when this happens, you just take them in. Pause.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, and I see you, you know, networking with these dudes. And for me, it's an honor to network with you. You're so deep in the game, you know what I'm saying, that it's an honor for me to talk to people like yourself and like share gems, you know what I mean, that you've acquired through your experience in this game with the listeners. Because I consider this a show for artists and hardcore hip hop fans, you know. That's kind of the way I look at it at my show, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, I'm a rapper, and you interviewed the rappers. Like, you had Don Pacino from Killer Army. Like, you get it. Like, everybody doesn't get it. Some people like to be in the culture but not of the culture. You get it.
Right.
So you really,
I appreciate that.
hip hop shit.
I appreciate it. I mean, I spent some years as an artist, you know what I mean? Not like probably 6-7 years pursuing the craft and writing on and off my whole life. So that just also gives me some insights to be able to conduct a dope interview, I believe, you know what I'm saying? And kind of get into things maybe not every interviewer can, you know what I mean? So, yeah. What else? You know, looking through your catalog, you have collabs with Fred the Godson, Razcast, Capadonna, Tragedy Gaddafi, Little Flip, Planet Asia. You know, you're getting Sky Zoo on your intro tracks on one of your projects, you know what I mean? All I'm saying is you're dedicated to the game and you're living the life, you know what I'm saying? So it's, again, it's an honor to have you here. So I like to start with like what I like about your craft, about your skill set. So
let's go and tell me what's trash. Let me know.
Yeah,
I take constructive criticism.
Dude, yes, you do.
I do. Okay. But if it's too constructive, we might have to battle.
Okay, no, you'll kick my ass, man. You'll kick my ass easy, man. In the shape I'm in, for sure. But yeah, so your rhymes are super clean, bro. Even when you're spitting double time, you know what I mean. That's always something I appreciate from the eras, you know, of listening that I came through. I've been listening to hip hop since the '80s as a little kid. Okay. Your punchlines are elaborate, man. They're original and never recycled, bro. Like, I feel like you're the type of dude that you think the rap gods are watching you when you're writing. Like, you hold yourself to a certain standard. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, you don't have to take it to where you take it to, but you put it on yourself because the rap gods are watching. Is that the way you think?
I write some shit. Big ass, rest in peace. And Fred the God are watching me. So I'm not recycling shit, and I'm not giving low-hanging fruit. I'm not giving you the corny shit. Yeah. I write a lot, so I never feel like, oh, let me save this punchline for that. Like, no, fuck that. Write your punchline, deliver that shit, and then tomorrow come up with some better shit. And if not, then maybe
man.
meant to be in this spot.
But I mean, like, I've went through your Spotify catalog, and nothing struck me as, oh, I heard that punchline before, which is remarkable. You know what I'm saying? So I have a sense of the standard that you hold yourself to, man. So it's dope. Yeah, and you know, your rhymes are very like organized and stuff. Are you an organized person outside of rap? Because you strike me as an organized person, the way you write your rhymes.
If you look at the desktop of my computer, you would be the most disorganized person you ever met in your life. However, I'm a person who, if I say I'm going to do something, I will not forget it. If I say I'm going to pick the airport at 3 a.m., then I'm there at 2:30. You know, I believe in holding yourself to a high standard, be a man of your word. But I got a million things going on all the time, so I would not consider myself highly organized. I'm functioning ADD. I'm all over the place.
Got it. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, actually. But I was taking an educated guess there. But and let me ask you a question. Like, you say that if you make a promise, you follow through on it, right? When it comes to music, I want to bring this into the conversation. There's not always an immediate reward to the actions you take today, whether you're putting out a song, you know, whatever you're investing into your craft itself. So how important is it to keep your word to what you do, to who you collab with, or just you say you're going to be somewhere, or you're going to submit your vocals by this time? How important is it in your opinion?
Well, think about it. How important is money? We need it to function every day, right? We got to spend it. But guess what? Money, you can spend it, and when it's gone, you can make some more, right?
Right, yeah.
But with your word, once your word is broken, you can't get that back. Like, once your integrity is compromised, then that is something that you can't always fix. So it's like our face say, all I got is my balls and my word. Like, it's not as cliche as that, but that is something that's very important. Like, it's the most important thing is to have your word and to be a man of your word. To me, at least.
Agreed. So going back to what I like, you know, about what you do, you practice all kinds of drills, you know, like rhyming backwards. You do the year-end raps. I saw you do a rap summarizing the fight, a boxing match, Christmas raps, double time raps, conscious raps, like Black empowerment, Juneteenth raps, female empowerment raps. Like, you really use hip hop as a tool. You're a real student of the craft. You embody the life. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've ever interviewed a person quite like you that seems so dedicated to hip hop, basically. You know?
Well, someone told me a long time ago that if you be yourself, you'll never run out of content.
Right.
So I'm not pretending to be somebody that I'm not. I am hip hop. I've been hip hop since I was 5 years old, putting beat tapes on Eddie Ruxpin's. Like, I literally have been writing since I was 5, 6 years old.
5, 6, wow.
For me, if you are who you say you are, and it comes so natural, what content can I come up with on Christmas? I wake up on Christmas and I'm like, it's Christmas. I feel like rapping. Let me get these bars off.
Right.
That's just who I am. Yeah. So, of course, I want to dip my hand in all different types of, not even just because something's trendy. It's just, that's just the way that my brain thinks. I think in bars. You might be walking down the street with me, and my friends will tell you. They'll be like, yo, I get sick of this nigga. Just stop rapping. Like, but I can't turn my.
So you're not pushing yourself to do these things. It's like flowing through you to want to do them.
Absolutely.
Is that right? That's dope. That's a dope way to be. Other thing is, though, even you consider yourself a boom bap rapper. You even say it in your songs, in the intros and stuff like that. It seems you go, I wouldn't say, I guess, out of your comfort zone to do industry stuff as well, although you seem pretty comfortable in that area also. So yeah.
Well, we live in an era of niche rapping right now. Like, you got to find your subset of people that really fuck with what it is that you do, right?
Right.
I'm a writer. I'm an artist. I'm a songwriter. I can write to anything. I can write Little Baby songs. I can write Drake songs.
Yeah.
But my may not want to hear that from me. But I still got to do it because you can make money off ghostwriting. You can make money off sync placements. All different types of money that there is to be made in the rap game. And sometimes it's just like you get bored. I'm very good at boom bap rapping. I can rap around most motherfuckers, but sometimes I want to challenge myself. So I say, let me get on this trap beat. Let me see if I can go double time or triplet cadence. And it's just, I like it sometimes. Switch it up.
Yeah, man. I was wondering if you do that. We're going to get deep into the assistant professor stuff on the Pendulum Ink school. I'm very looking forward to that. But I was thinking maybe you feel pressure to do it because you're teaching other people how to do this stuff. So do you feel like, I got it? Oh, I don't like this drill in particular, but I got to do it just to show, I can do everything. You know what I mean? That I'm trying to impart on my students.
Well, most of the students follow me on Instagram, or they music on Spotify or something, so they know that I'm pretty well versed in all things. So I never really feel the pressure. Sometimes the pressure comes in class, where they'll be like, "Well, give me an example of something," and I come off top, and they'll be like, "Yo, that's crazy. Like, where did that come from?" And I'm like, "Well, you just asked me for an example, so I just gave you one off top. It's not the level of writing that you usually get from me because I'm thinking spot as opposed to give me 10 minutes. But in the same token, like, no, I don't really feel the pressure of it because, like I said, it comes so natural."
That's dope. So you freestyle as well? You freestyle comfortably as well?
I freestyle pretty comfortably. I used to be trash, but then I started practicing it more, and now I'm not trash. So I don't consider myself, I'm not MC Juice. I'm not the Eminem at the Rap Olympics. I'm not the best freestyler in the world. But 75% of niggas if I'm freestyling, just because I have an extensive vocabulary. But it's not something that I do a lot because I feel like there's people that do that very well, and I'm gonna let them do that. Which is manipulate manipulate the English language in ways that people haven't always heard it before.
Right, right. To me, you know, when I was actively rhyming, a big part of my whole style was just saying things that have never been phrased or like in patterns that have been assembled before. That was like a really big part. I don't know if that's so much the trend these days, you know, with the newer school, but for me, it was always a big thing anyway. So that's why I appreciate what you do, you know?
I'm big on lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so back to like entering contests and battles. I mean, the other thing I appreciate is you're really out there testing your pen against other people. Like it's one thing that your homies think you're good, or maybe your neighborhood thinks you're good, or in your head you think you're good, better than you are, or you really haven't tested yourself. It's another thing to put yourself out there constantly and kind of rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's something I respect about what you do. Have you always had that mindset to compete? Is that always been within your comfort zone?
Well,
Thought I'd ask you.
Is like when people think of like elite rappers, they're like, oh, they're so competitive, this, that, and the third. I'm actually not a very competitive person. Like I'm not one of those people who like we playing Uno, I have to win. Like I don't give.
Right.
I'd rather collaborate with people than compete against people. And I hate the way that the internet has become this basically gladiator school. Like you have all these people who are gatekeepers, and instead of opening the gates and saying, he's dope, he's dope, he's dope, those are the 3 dopest people I heard in the last 10 years, let me let them in. They say, I can make money off hours of content. So why don't I make hours of content of all of these rappers battling each other for one spot? When we really could let 10 of them in and it wouldn't fucking disrupt the industry at all. Yeah. But instead, they would rather make money and get content hours from watching us compete against each other and slug each other out like it's a fucking reality show.
Right. So, right.
Back to me, I'm not a very competitive person. I think I'm nice. I think I'm better than a lot of people. You're
confident.
Yes, I'm conscious of it. I'm not cocky, but I'm also not. I'm not cocky, but I'm aware of the fact that I'm nice.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. You know, I interviewed Jojo Pellegrino a couple interviews ago. The way he put it is that
rated MC. He's been getting busy for the past couple years too.
Yeah. I'm really getting back in tune with what he influenced me back in the day, so it was an honor, bucket list, and interview him. But what he said to me is that when he's on a track with someone or maybe at a radio station spitting, they're not firing at each other, they're firing at the target. Like they're both firing at the target ahead, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Whether he's collabing with RJ Payne, he's got a pretty dope track with RJ Payne. They're not shooting at each other. They're kind of both shooting, you know, at the target, so to speak. So I like the way he put it.
I try to out-rap people when I'm on tracks with them. I just rap.
Yeah.
I just go hard on every track. But I have learned that when you're doing tracks with these industry guys, sometimes I got to hold back a little bit. Because I've had people agree to do tracks and then they heard my verse and they said, no, I'm not doing it no more. I ain't going to mention no names, but some people got scared. Industry cat.
I believe I've encountered that on a much lower level than you. So I believe what you're saying. I can believe that. So
it's real.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory. I'm not making it up.
Yeah.
Some of these people, I don't want to say scared, but some of them just don't want to push their pen.
Yeah.
And like, because I'm an up and coming, that they have everything to lose and nothing to gain.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I'm not trying to make you look bad. I'm just trying to rap. And if I'm rapping tough, that means that I think you rap tough and I want you to come with it. That means I don't want you to just give me some lazy throwaway verse, especially if I'm paying you my money.
Yeah. You know, by the way, we have Jay Roberts here. I know you collabed with him. I'm interviewing him like end of the month, which I'm looking forward to.
In Toronto, Roberts, that's my boy.
Yeah. So looking forward to that.
45. He's been getting a lot of placements up there. He's been pumping out. First off, he had a dope ass album called Northside.
Yes.
I happened to be in my boy Life. But aside from that, man, he's just been dropping single after single every month. And he's the definition of consistency. Yeah. And he's on that same grimy type of shit that I'm on. So
the dope delivery, and I feel he's just making all the right moves for his sound.
He is.
So I'm sure he's hearing all this. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to chopping up with him for sure. And you know what I mean. He's a fan of the show, so big props for him. You know, comes on the show frequently. I appreciate that. So yeah, back to the contests. Do you feel the contests help you a lot with exposure? Contest battles, or kind of is there any other motivation behind entering them?
I feel like you have to pick and choose your contests. A lot of people will jump in every and any contest that is out there.
Yeah.
But you also realize, one, your own limitations.
Yeah.
And two, what you have to gain from it.
Right.
For me, because I write quickly and at a high level, it's nothing for me to enter a contest. It's just a matter of me giving 30 minutes of my day, if that. Right. But for a lot of people, if preparing for a contest is going to mean that you can't create your own discography, like you can't finish your album or you can't get your single out on time because it takes you that long to do the contest, then I would say you really have to weigh what the pros and cons of that are. For me now, to the point, if somebody's like, oh, get on this contest and you'll get to be on this song with me. That's really not a prize that's enticing me unless you are an established artist who I really want to get on a song with, and maybe I don't have to pay you to get on a song.
Right.
But, you know, if they say it's $1,000 cash prize, or if they say you win a whole new studio, or, you know, you get plane tickets somewhere, then I might hop in it.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. And I mean, you've collabed with a lot of big names as it is already, right? So.
And just to add on to that, you got to know what challenge is for you. Like if they do a Drake challenge right now, I got to know that I'm probably not going to win. I'm probably not going to win it. Not to say that I can't rap like Drake, but that's not my wheelhouse. And even if I do it, I might write a song that people just don't want to hear coming from me. They might look at him and be like, yo, he's old. Nobody wants to hear a guy with grays in his beard rapping about, you know, Marvin's house or whatever the fuck Drake is talking about these days. But if there's a Conway challenge and I know that that's my wheelhouse, and I say, this is probably one that I could win. This is probably what you want to hear me do. Then it makes sense for me to be in a challenge like that.
That makes sense. Kind of stepping back, I interviewed Pro Dillinger recently. You know, he's had a few lives in music. His most recent, he's been focused on the right audience. You know what I mean? So he dropped a big gem on us in that interview. So it's along the lines of what you're saying. Is there any like biggest contests you've won that you could highlight? I'm not familiar with all of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm familiar with a bunch of them, but is there any big, most notable contests that you won?
There's a couple that stick out in my mind. One, Jay Skis from Drumwork Music Group. He signed to Conway, The Machine, Griselda.
Right.
He did where actually the prize was, he gave out like, he had a merchandise company who was going to print up a bunch of your merch, and he gave a free verse. And I know that his verses go for, you know, thousands of dollars. So the fact that I was able to get that, and he was also a stand-up individual, and actually the moment he got off tour, he actually delivered that verse to me.
Wow.
So that meant a lot. And I still talk to him to this day. Like I'll hit him up in the DMs, like when I hear him say some crazy shit, because we're MCs. So we talk about rap shit.
Yeah.
Then most recently, I just completed the Top Spitter Challenge. And with that, I won a verse from Graph, and I'm going to do a video with Graph as well.
Dope.
And Graph producer is producing an entire 6-track EP that's going to be put out on their record label. So that is a pretty big one for me. So that's like, even though they're not giving me actual cash, that's like $20,000 worth of shit right there. So that was
It's crazy. It's crazy though that you're consistently placing so high. Do you know other MCs that are kind of doing as well with you in these contests? Like, are you in the circumference of, or do you feel you're part of a small group of contest winners, regular contest winners?
If you're asking me if I think anybody's fucking with me, the answer is no.
Got it.
But Nah, a lot of. I'm just joking. A lot of times I come in these spots and I see a lot of familiar names, and like I'm not a very competitive guy. I always want to win, especially prize. I get some money, but it makes me happy to see my guys in here because it means that the underground as a whole is being recognized, and it means that the guys that I think are dope, the rest of the world is dope.
Yeah, right.
It's in the Snipes challenge right now. Snipes, the sneaker store, and DJ Enough, we're doing a challenge, couple hundred entries or whatever, and I got placed in the top 8. So on Saturday we'll find wins. But I knew at least 2 of the other guys that were in that top 8. Right. So that makes me feel like I'm fucking with the right people. Right. Because like our pens are top 8 of a couple hundred people.
That's crazy.
Then man. Last month, the Wu-Tang challenge on Sway. I was one of the top, I don't even remember how many the top it was, like top 40 or 30 or 50 or something like that. But that was out of thousands and thousands of people. Mm-hmm. But then other people that I know, 2 people that I'm good friends with are in that top 8 that are actually going on to Sway to rap.
It's and pretty.
I tell people, fuck this competition shit. Yeah. We all win. We just can't all win at the same time.
Right.
So maybe the Grab shit was my win. Maybe the Snipe shit will be my win. Maybe the Wu-Tang shit is the win for my Nejma Nefertiti because I think she's going to take it all the way.
You've got a great attitude about it, man. That's dope, man. Need more humility like this, I think, in general, in the genre, I would say.
Love, man. Like I say, a lot of motherfuckers will never get their turn because they're not when it's not their turn.
Yeah. By the way, Pretty Bully, I think she's flying out there. I don't think she won, but I think she's flying out. I interviewed her a few months back. I think she's flying out to rap in front of RZA and them. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
She might be in that top 8 or top 12.
Yeah. I believe so.
So that's what's up.
Yeah,
so that means you fucking with the right people too.
Yeah. Well, no, good point, right? Because I try to be really stringent with my guests. I want to represent the best quality. I want people to rely on my word. When I say this person's dope or this album's dope, I just want them to take it at face value. And you got to earn people's trust, right? So.
And that goes back
man.
To what you said in the first 5 minutes of this interview. Yeah. What matters? Your word.
Yeah.
Your word matters.
Yeah.
If you start co-signing a bunch of bullshit, then people aren't going to tap in every time you post a video because they'll be like, it might be hot, might not be hot.
Yeah.
It's like the whole the bars on I-95 thing, and I'm not trying to dictate your interview or rush into different spots, but
that's okay. No, go ahead.
Of the reputation they have, it's for bring your pen game, not your name.
Yeah.
So the moment that you compromise that, then other motherfuckers are gonna be like, well, maybe I'll check it. But if I know that every time that you bring somebody up, it's because they got bars. If I fuck with bars, I'm gonna check it.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Yeah, man. Wanted to ask you, do you prefer writing like verses, 16s, 32s, over writing recording songs? If you do you have something that you enjoy? Do you enjoy one more than the other?
I don't. I feel like it's different skill sets. I feel like they both have their place. Sometimes, even when I'm doing like a concert, I feel like sometimes I come out and do a 16 acapella just to show motherfuckers that I really can rap and that this work is different. And then after that, I got to show them that I know how to rock a crowd. I feel like MC means move the crowd. You got to be able to move the crowd. And I feel like to really understand me, you got to really understand that I really am hip hop. Like I came up breakdancing. I came up doing graffiti. I came up DJing. I'm every fucking element. I may not be as good rapping. That's my forte. The other shit, but I did it. Yeah. And that's just the way that came up. So, it's.
But by the way, let's talk about your name, ShowRocka. That's not a name, in my opinion, you throw around lightly. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not a dude that raps over the tracks in the club, over the vocals, the recorded vocals. You don't do that and carry the name ShowRocka, right? So at what point did you say, you know what, I can carry this title? You know what I mean? Did you prove it to yourself before you named yourself that? Did you name yourself that first and then go out and prove it?
What the thing is that ShowRocka, well, one, I'll tell you two crazy things. One is that ShowRocka is actually my legal middle name because I changed it like 10 years ago.
Wow.
So you look at my passport, that shit says ShowRocka on it. That's one.
Yeah.
Second thing I'll tell you that it never came from ShowRocka as in rocking shows.
Okay.
When I was young, I used to do a lot of battles. And I was like this 10-year-old kid, whatever, and I'm fucking smoking grown-ass men, like, just give me the mic, bang, 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 bang. So they never knew my name. They was like, yo, Shorty Rock. Just call me Shorty Rock, so I was like a little kid.
Yeah.
So show is short for Shorty, and Rocka short from rock. So like show rock.
Oh, got it.
Shorty Rockefeller.
Right.
Rockefeller back then.
All right. I'm glad we uncovered that. That's dope.
But I can rock a show now. I can rock a show now.
Yeah. You have to with that name, man. You have to be able to. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of appearances, actually, before we get into that, do you currently live in Connecticut?
Yep.
I think you spent some time in Shaolin as well. I've listened to your songs and what you say in them. So you want to give me like a timeline? Have you lived the vast majority of your life in Connecticut, or?
I've lived pretty much my whole life in Connecticut, except for a brief stint in Staten Island. And then, of course, when I was in college, I lived in Philadelphia. So that's like my second home. Got
it. So wanted to tie it into your, actually, since we're here, what was it like growing up in Connecticut? Can you let us know?
It's great now, but it sucked when I was growing up.
Right.
Because Connecticut was like this forgotten place in between Boston and New York. Mm-hmm. No rapper from Connecticut until, Steezo came up. Rest in peace. Got the first person to ever bring a platinum record back to Connecticut. And even once he got on, he started to claim like New York. And like that hurt our heart. Nobody ever repped for Connecticut.
Right.
So really, we didn't get a lot of big concerts here. We did have our New Haven Coliseum, but we would get like one concert there a year. So it's like nobody really fucked with Connecticut or New Haven or even knew what we were until Raekwon came out with the Purple Tape and he said, "Real niggas lick shots, peace Connecticut." That was the first time anyone had ever heard the word Connecticut in rap.
Right.
And now it's so different. We get all the shows. Every month we get shows coming here. People, Max B used to hang out here all the time. In French Montana, he got a lot of people locked up too, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so now Connecticut is, I don't want to say a hub, but now Connecticut is respected. People know, oh, Connecticut, yeah, tri-state. But back then it was like, Connecticut, what? What is that? Bunch of farmers, tractors. It's like they had no clue.
Yeah, Jay Roberts is saying apathy's from Connecticut.
Brother too, so shout out to the square apathy.
So I grew up on Woo. That's where that sample, you have that piece Connecticut looped in the hook, right? So I wanted to ask you the impact that had. It's crazy that one reference from Raekwon on a song shed light on your city. Would you say it inspired you in your city as well? Did it have that dramatic of an effect?
I'll put it like this. The way that old black people acted when they saw Obama become president, that was the way that Connecticut acted. Raekwon said, peace, Connecticut. It was the same as when old black people found out that we had our first black president. That's how crazy people in my city went when we first heard Connecticut mentioned on not only a record, but a record from, at the time, the biggest group in the world. The Wu-Tang Clan, the biggest group to us in the world.
Yeah. That's dope, man.
Raekwon,
that's crazy.
To this day, my favorite member of the Wu-Tang Clan. And I actually got to connect with him through another contest, but that's a whole different shit.
Oh, wow. Do you know why he shouted out Connecticut? I don't remember the surrounding lyrics off the top of my head, but do you know the backstory to that, or it remains unknown?
There's a backstory, but I don't know if the backstory is true, so I don't want to get into it. But the backstory that I've heard is something negative happened to him in Connecticut, and that it wasn't really even a shout out. That he was saying peace Connecticut, like I'm still here, or like
okay.
But he's never verified that, so we just taking it. He was shouting us out. So shout out to Ray. That's what we going with. That's the story we going with.
Right. So we'll get back into the Wu-Tang stuff if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, back to I-95. That's a show in Connecticut, right? Did they know who you were? Like, what did it take, if you don't mind sharing, for you to get on there? Like, did they know who you were? And I know you've made a post telling people, look, everyone, I've grinded to get my spots here. Don't think anything was handed to me. I did catch that, by the way. But yeah, like, can you tell us how that came to be?
It's funny, right? Because the dude that runs bars on I-95, AB, he's from West Haven, and we have mutual friends. So when I went, like, talking to him, he's like, yo, where you from? I'm like, I'm from New Haven. And he's like, really? Like, you from New Haven? I never seen you. I never heard of you. And I'm like, we got mutual friends and everything. So even I was surprised. But like I said, sometimes you need to be humble.
Yeah.
And the fact that you may think you're making all the noise in the world, but the biggest platform in your own state doesn't know who you are, means that you ain't making the kind of noise that you think you're making.
Right.
I guarantee you that after I went on there, then now they know who I am. And AB dapped me up and he said, yeah, that's how you do it for the home team. That's what we say when you from Connecticut and you on a Connecticut platform, or if you really rep Connecticut, like you see me, I have Connecticut t-shirts on, Connecticut hoodies on. I put that shit on my back. And he said, yeah, home team, one take. I said, look, I didn't know there was any other way. I've never been on before, so I assume you only get one take. You don't get to fuck up and redo this shit.
Right. So,
but the way that I actually...
It was one take, you said?
It was
or it was
one take.
Okay. Yeah.
So typically, like, bars on I-95 is kind of like a, don't call us, we'll call you. But the way that I got up there was actually through the school Pendelum Ink. And I don't see that for anyone to think, oh, Mickey Fax, because people will say, oh, Mickey Fax got him up there. Yeah. Actually, it was a lot harder for me to get up there than it was for a lot of other people because I didn't have that name. So for me, I was valedictorian of Pendelum Ink, and part of my valedictorian package was I was supposed to go on Sway, and the timing just didn't match up. So Mickey Fax said to me, we're going to switch it to bars on I-95. And I was like, bet. Because I'm from Connecticut, that means so much to me. Yeah. But basically, to get up there, I had to beat out, an entire school of some of the best rappers in the country. Yeah. I was like, of course. Yeah. I took the hard way. Like, y'all motherfuckers, you walked up the hill. I had to fucking climb the mountain just to get up that shit. So yeah, it meant to be up there. And I was nervous in the motherfucker, but I didn't show it. I just got up there, got busy. No, you didn't show it at all, man. And the bars were crazy, bro. I'm Kobe Bryant at the arch with my arc perfected. I just like the intricacies, man, of that shit, man. I could keep going on, man. That shit was crazy, man. Bar for bar. Listen to a lot of my rhymes. It's very like RJ Payne-ish. Like I'm very like high energy. But on that one, I even started. I could keep it cool, calm, and collective, because I didn't want to get up there and get so hyped that I forgot my rhymes. I got so hyped that I lost my breath. So I said, I'm going to start it off cool, calm, and collective and just surgically craft these bars. And every one is going to be interwoven with the last one. So I wrote that in a specific way for that platform. I didn't just say, okay, what's my best rhyme? I'm bringing it up. Then, fuck that. Whatever rhyme I write today, I can write a better rhyme tomorrow. Okay,
how long did it take you to write that? That didn't take 30 minutes. Don't tell me that took 30 minutes.
About 2 days.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But so
it only took me 2 days because first and then my homie said, "That's it. Show rap for 5 minutes. Ain't no rap for," because they comparing me to the best motherfuckers ever in Connecticut. Yeah. They rap for this long, and I'm like, "You right? I can't go up there and spit 30 bars. Now I got to spit 60. Now I got to spit 8."
That's what your colleagues said to you? Mm-hmm. That's what they told you?
Yo, my friends do not respect
Bro, like, that's hating, bro. That's hating, if you ask me.
Like, yo, they're on me. I do not hang around a bunch of yes men. I see my boy A Money Pate is in the chat right now. The main one, like, that's it? You only gonna give him 40 bars? This motherfucker gave him 80. I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
Don't tell me he's sitting there with a stopwatch, bro, while you're rapping. So yeah, man, that's
for me, because I write so much, it's my memory is the only thing. I could write you 500 bars before tomorrow.
Right.
But can I memorize it? No.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part. That, and I'm a pre-pause this shit. Finding time to swallow your spit when you're rapping for 3.5 minutes. You gotta write that into your rap, because otherwise you can't just stop and be like, you look crazy or sound crazy. So you have to write that in the rap. It's called spatial rhyming. You gotta let the beat breathe at certain spots. But you know, I'm a professor of rhyme. I know what the fuck I be doing.
No, spacing out the shit, I learned that at my last stint. I really felt I mastered that. But that's important shit. It adds the polish. It gives you room to breathe. It allows you to perform. You know what I'm saying? So
what helps me is that until maybe beginning of the last year, I never punched in, ever. Like if I'm recording a rap, I don't punch in shit. Now I started giving myself more leeway. But back then I said, if I punch in, how the fuck am I going to perform this live?
Yeah.
You can't punch in.
Yeah.
So it was just write it in a way that you can recite it.
I put up a post a few weeks ago saying, if you can't spit your verse in one take, you're not done editing the rhyme. You know what I'm saying? And I waited for the responses, and you know, it was a mixed bag. You know, some people were like, there's no rules, this and that. But at the end of the day, my mindset, and I learned this the hard way from the bunch of performances I did, is like, if you can't record it properly in one take, you can't spit that shit live in one take, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. So,
like, there's things that I fucked up a million times, but now I got it down.
Yeah.
So it's practice, that's all. Yeah. But even when I'm recording, I don't memorize my rhymes. I just read them.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know the difference. You wouldn't know that I'm reading as I'm.
Right. Right. So gonna jump over to Punchline Academy. That was a bit earlier. That was before
man.
The I-95.
Infamous Amadeus, Shady 45. Shout out to them.
So from what I saw, you had a submission there as well, and like you placed top 3. Can you give us more information on like how you landed that, if you're willing to share, if you're willing to divulge?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like Punchline doesn't always open submissions, and I saw that they were.
Right.
So I was like, let me submit, because that's what I do when, you know, I might be bored. I might just feel like rapping that day. So I submitted it.
Right.
And then it was around like, I believe like Thanksgiving or Christmas time, one of them. And they're like, yo, we're going to pick a certain amount of people to come up to, from the submissions that we posted that we thought were dope. We're going to pick a certain amount of people to actually come up to the studio. So I think they might have posted this on a Monday. And they said, we're going to pick people on Wednesday, and we're going to have them come up on a Thursday. Or no, we're going to have them come up on a Wednesday. And they said this on Monday, because I think Thursday might have been Thanksgiving or some shit.
Right.
That same day, I was like, I know my shit, John Blaze. I know my shit is fire. So I call up Mickey Fax. I'm like, yo, Mickey, I know you went on Punchline Academy. Where is it? And he told me it was New York. So I was like, boom, that's somewhere I can get to. I took the day off on Wednesday. The moment that they said they were going to pick somebody to come up there Wednesday, because in my mind, I knew they were going to pick me, because I knew my shit was fire, and I felt like it was my time.
Do you know how many submissions there were?
I don't, but they said there were a whole lot, because a lot of people that I know that are fucking dope didn't get posted or didn't get picked.
Right.
So I know there were a lot. And I don't know, like sometimes you just feel it. It's like when you shoot a shot, sometimes you just leave your hand up there like, you know that's going in.
You start walking backwards.
Exactly. I be doing that shit. Hit that boom. When I know I got a strike, I just turn my back on the shit and just hear the pins go crack.
You know, I'm talking to assistant professor teaching people how to rap, man. So I'm reminding myself this. I can get really nerdy with this shit, and it's cool, right?
It's all right. We rap nerds.
Yeah. So I want to ask you a question. Do you think sometimes someone can become so good at rapping that they sound too clean. You sound too polished. Is there such a thing as sounding too polished in rap? I felt like, the last stretch I was rapping, I felt like I was getting there, and I was like, I got to put some struggle into this because I'm getting too clean. Do you think that's a thing?
You can be too clean for a certain type of song,
right?
Or you can be too clean for a certain type of beat. But as long as you're being yourself,
sorry, let me rephrase. Your bars are just too perfectly timed. That's what I mean. Like,
I don't think your bars can ever be too perfectly timed.
Got it. Cool. I thought I'd ask you.
But I think that no matter how perfectly timed they are, they could always be better.
Right. Because sometimes I used to think like I'm trying to I should sound a bit more organic rather than sounding kind of robotic. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I change up my cadence and stuff to kind of break out of this? Anyways, real nerdy shit.
That is different. Now you said clean or too perfect. Sometimes people sound too robotic all the time. Like I was just listening to some girl freestyle on Flex, and I was like, the bars are there, but the delivery is not. And even if you wrote it, it sounded like somebody else wrote it for you, and you're not comfortable delivering it.
Right.
So that I 100% believe in. You can be saying the dopest shit on the planet if you cannot deliver it. And that's why at Pendulum Ink, we not only teach different lyrical techniques in terms of things to do with words, but also how to get inside those pockets, how to rhyme on the 2 and the 4, how to get those cadences correct. Because it doesn't matter how dope your bars are if people aren't resonating with it or if it doesn't sound good. Like, above everything else, music should make you feel, and music should sound good. So if you don't sound good, nobody gives a fuck what you're saying.
Yeah, of course. I was watching American Idol with my wife. This was a long time ago. But I remember one of the judges said to the singers, amazing singer, said, you're making this look too easy. You're performing, you got to put some struggle into your delivery. And that kind of resonated with me with rapping. Like, sometimes you got to sound like you're just struggling to get that bar off, And I also watched a Nas masterclass, and he said, imperfections, some imperfections should be there. You know what I mean? So yeah, just kind of getting nerdy about all this shit. You know what I mean?
It depends on the song, because sometimes I'll do a song and hear an imperfection in there, and I say, for this song, leave that in there.
Right.
But then for the songs, I'll be like, nah, I got to get this perfect. I got to get this dead right.
Yeah.
And that's just every song is its own self-contained episode.
True.
In different episodes, different shit.
It depends. Yeah. Fair enough. So yeah, I saw one of your reels. I was going through your timeline, and you drop a lot of gems for other artists, man. So you're contributing to the community in a big way for sure. Yeah. One of the things you said is like, as artists, we have this instinct to keep creating songs or writing shit, but sometimes you got to fall back and market the old shit. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think it's so hard for most artists to embrace marketing?
One, because it costs money.
Right.
And two, because they feel like it's cheating.
Right.
Like, people have this idea that if my verse didn't go viral, it's because it's not dope enough. Right. So I need to come up with something that's doper, and come up with something that's doper when in reality, like, you're stupid. Like, it has nothing to do with that at all.
Right.
It has to do with, it has to do with what the algorithm felt like posting that day, or what hashtags are trending. It has nothing to do with how dope you are. It has to do with the circumstances. So a lot of times people will say, oh, I'm on to the next thing because that's the way that it has to be. Russ drop a song a month. Russ dropped it. Fuck that. You ain't Russ. You are you.
Right.
And you may have 10,000 followers, but guess what? You'd be lucky if 1,000 followers actually saw that piece.
Right.
So, like, I'll drop a song or I'll drop a video and I'll cut it into 10 pieces. And over the course of a couple of months, I might show all 10 of those pieces. And on the 9th piece, it'll be somebody that I see every day in the street. And they'll be like, yo, that shit you dropped yesterday was fire. And I'm like, you didn't see that when I was posting it for the past 2 months? And they're like,
right.
nah, I never came across my feed.
Right. Yeah.
So you gotta keep feeding and feeding and feeding, because all Instagram wants you to do is spend more time on the app, right?
Yeah.
The more you post, the more they're gonna incentivize you to keep posting, and then maybe, 25% of people might actually see your shit. Like I say,
right.
It may not be new to you. You might get sick of performing it. You might get sick of posting it, but it's new to them. A lot of motherfuckers, most motherfuckers haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Most artists, again, they don't embrace that. So yeah, it's definitely a gem dropped right there. Wanted to ask, go ahead. Sorry?
Oh, no, I'm looking at the chat. I see my man Keith was in the building. I said, what up to my OGs?
Yeah, let's shout out a few people. Nutshelled, Jay Roberts, of course.
Nutshelled,
Jay the Jeweler Rugs.
Cliff is one of
here?
our
THD Beats.
He's nice.
Yeah. Wanted to ask you, since you dissect the craft so much, like for me as a listener, when I'm in artist mode, the years that I was in artist mode, I can't help but dissect everything that touches my ears. I break it down. And to be honest, it kind of took a bit of the magic out of the music for me. I'm actually really enjoying the spot I'm in right now in terms of just appreciating, all the music, the dope shit that's out there. But I wanted to ask you, who's in your top 3 of all time? Given that you think of your skills so highly, I'm very curious to know. I don't care about top 5. Top 5 is a little too easy for me. Who's in your top 3 of all time?
Nas, Tupac, and the third slot alternates. Sometimes it's Biggie, sometimes it's Jay-Z. So
right.
I think today I'll give it to Jay-Z. So
yeah. Some of those names alternate for me as well. And let me ask you, is that the same as your top 3 influences, or your top 3 influences something different?
Now my influences are different, because I don't think I rhyme like any of those guys, to be honest.
Right.
If I would say my 3 influences, it probably won't even make any sense. Nas would be in my top MCs and my top influences. Influences, I'd also go Cameron and probably Lloyd Banks.
Right. With the punchlines. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. By the way, where are you good for time still?
Yeah, I'm good. We rocking out.
Dope, man. Yeah, so
shout out to Professor Chilla Jones in the building. I see Chilla just popped in.
Salute. That's dope.
Battle rap royalty right there.
So wanted to ask you for the I grew up on Wu 2. First of all, does New Haven go by Wu Haven just based on that shout out from Raekwon? Is that a thing, or is that more of a thing that
I made that?
Okay. You made that up.
Wu Haven, now that I said it goes by Wu Haven.
Right. Got it.
We go by a lot of things, but that was me. That was all me. I made that shit up. But New Haven, people say, I hate to say, money craving New Haven, pistol waving New Haven, gun waving New Haven. It's not really a glorious thing to say that, but we got words out here.
A lot of dope words rhyme with Haven. It's a dope thing to rhyme. Wanted to ask you, how did you secure all those features like Capadonna, Young Dirty Bastard, Shaheem, Killa Priest? Like, did you create shit and then they respected what you did and then they reached out to you, or you somehow developed a relationship? How did that come together?
Them motherfuckers want money just like everybody else. So nobody reached out to me, but for a lot of them, like when I did the I Grew Up on Wu, I really wanted Shaheem on that record because I literally grew up listening to Shaheem. He was closer to our age than the Wu-Tang Clan members, and we thought he was the coolest shit ever.
Right.
But Shaheem was in jail, so that shit wasn't happening. So I reached out to, like, I saw Young Dirty post something like he was doing a special on Feature. So I was like, yo, this would be perfect. It's Old Dirty Bastard's son. So I reached out to him. first industry feature that I actually got.
Wow.
And he was very professional about it. I paid him. He didn't rip me off because some industry dudes have robbed me. I ain't gonna mention names. I'm still trying to get money back. So I've actually, once he gave me the verse, I thought it was dope. And then by the time I was doing I Grew Up on Wu Part 2, Shaheem was out of jail. And I said, I got to reach out to him and see if he'll fuck with it. And I let him hear the verse. And he was like, yo, this is so dope that he took the same concept that I went with my verse. And he said, well, you rapped on and did plays on all the names of all the Wu-Tang members. So I'm going to do flips and name flips on all the Killer B members because he knows those guys.
Yeah.
So to me, like, that was one of the best feature verses I've ever received.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a dope tune. I like Part 2, super dope. One of my favorite projects of yours on Spotify. I went through your Spotify catalog, by the way.
Tam Boys, Tony Caves, who did the artwork on that. You see, 1,000 words.
1,000 words? He was
1,000 words and Tony Caves, they're boys. They do a lot of art shit together, Tam Boys.
Right.
But he did the artwork for my I Grew Up on Wu too.
Right. So, wanted to ask you, actually, I saw, because you're talking about some grievances with artists. I don't want to get controversial. I don't do that here. But I did see, like, you got some features with Rick Ross and Cameron. I think you posted some grievances with how that turned out. I don't know if you care to get into that, to drop any gems. If you want to avoid it, we can. I'm cool. But I just came across that in your timeline. I was like, this is interesting.
Parent individual, and I feel like if anybody is taking the time to tap into this, you deserve a gem or two. So what a lot of people don't know is that bigger name artists can do what is called a non-exclusive feature.
Right.
Which means that they can sell the same verse to more than one person.
Right.
There's a company that'll do these packs where they'll sell it for cheap and give you the rights to actually make the song, but they'll sell it for so cheap that you'll have like 100 people that may have the same verse.
Right.
And that's how we got the Rick Ross feature. So I'm not mad at the fact that a bunch of other people may have that same verse. It is what it is. You only paid a couple $100 for it. You knew what you're getting at the time.
Yeah.
My issue with the Cameron thing was I bought it through one of his A&Rs, and it didn't cost me a couple $100. It cost me a couple $1,000.
Wow.
And when you're at that price point, you think, okay, maybe one other person or two other people might have this verse.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought where I messed up was I sat on the record with Cameron being one of my favorites. I'm like, I don't know when the time is right. You know, I want to change this. I want to change that. You know, you said about verse being too perfect. I fucked up and sat on the record for 2 years. And then at some point, that same A&R added it into one of these $200 or $300 packs. So
was that in the agreement that they can do that after a certain period of time, or?
I didn't have a lawyer look over it, but I didn't expect it because my thought process was, if these are being sold at this rate, it's not gonna be packaged at any point. And I had no reason to believe that. But then when it was, I said, you know, I can't be mad because I sat on it for 2 years. But still, the moment that I saw that same person who does the packs introduce that there was a Cameron verse, in my mind, I said, this might be the same fucking verse that I have. So I put my song out as soon as I could. So if you look, mine dropped before all of these other bullshit ones dropped afterwards. So mine was out first. But still, you know.
You live, you learn, right?
You live and you learn.
Yeah. So now I'm really excited to dive into the Pendulum Ink stuff. If Chilla Jones is still in the building, I'm fucking stoked. This is pretty cool.
That's my guy, my boy.
Yeah, man. Just like getting into this, before we get into this assistant professor, are you a chef? Is it like, I see you posting chef stuff.
I'm a chef. I'm not an actually classically trained chef, but I'm a hood chef. Okay. And I barbecue my ass off. So if anybody wants to smoke, meet me at the smoker. Your ribs ain't fucking with my ribs.
Right. Okay, so moving along, I know you have multiple degrees. You're an Ivy League graduate, and then I just find it super interesting that you also enrolled in this school for rap with all your degrees as well. I find that really interesting. Um,
It goes hand in
can,
hand. Think about it,
yeah,
because I've always been an academic all my life. You know, I went to University of Pennsylvania. It's an Ivy League school.
right,
After
right,
that, I double masters. I graduated with a 4.0. Like, that's why I
right.
out rap
Wow,
motherfuckers smart. I have an extensive vocabulary.
right,
So for me, these are the two things that I love. Like, I love being a student. I love rapping. Now I get to put them together and fucking analyze raps at a high level and tell other motherfuckers in an intelligent manner why they're whack and why we're better than them. It's like the best thing in the world. I love it.
what made you decide to enroll in the program? Like,
I enrolled in the program. I heard Mickey Fax and Chilla Jones pitching it, and I basically, again, like I said, I'm not cocky, but sometimes I am, and I was like, they're not gonna make me a better rapper. Fuck that. But
right, right,
I still joined because I said I'm smart enough to realize that there's so much I don't know about the industry.
right,
And I said I could get some connections. I could learn about sync licensing. I could learn about royalties and publishing and lawyers and things like that. So that was the reason why I joined.
right,
And I actually ended up being a much better rapper in the process, to the point where now, like, if I owed someone a feature verse before I started Pendulum and I wrote it and I never gave it to him, I don't want to give it to him now. I want to rewrite it because I'm a better rapper than I was 6 months ago.
right.
And I
And
don't giving you this shit from before, even though it was nice to me. I'm like, nah, that could be way crazier, way spookier, as we say in the Pendulum.
you know what's crazy? Going back to your catalog for a second, I could hear your evolution through your projects. Like I could hear it. You know what I mean? So I can understand
It's
why you
different.
would say that.
Ah,
Yeah, man. So how did that transition into being a professor? Were you just doing so good that they said, "Hey, Chilla Jones and Mickey Fax said, hey, are you interested in being an assistant professor?" Or how did that come together?
well, they always kind of gave us the carrot, and they always said, if you place in the top of your class, we're going to look at some people to help us out with teaching and maybe do this and that. And like, I heard that, and in my mind, I didn't hear maybe help us teach, maybe you can get a spot. I heard, if I'm the top of the class, then I'm gonna have a job. I heard
Right,
that in 2 years you're gonna be listening to ShowRocka Professor Punchline teaching my own class.
right,
That's the way, like, they manifest it. I say that's the way I say that's the way that I manifested it, and I said this is what's gonna happen. So I did graduate top of the class. I was the valedictorian,
right.
and they offered myself and 3 other students jobs as assistant professors, and we're running with it. That's it. And there's more opportunities that are opening up. Different places are calling us, asking us to teach, and we're ready. Like, get ready. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready.
That's dope. I looked over the classes. There's some interesting stuff. What are you teaching there specifically? Do you teach it all or specific aspects?
Well, right now I'm teaching Rap Theory 102, which is, a lot of it is cadence. A lot of it is, just making sure that you're on beat. So there's a Rap Theory 101 class, there's a 102 class, there's advanced rap techniques, and then there's also uh, uh, advanced rap theory. So there's like 4 different tracks of people all learning different things, but
Right,
combine them all together. That's how you make the Voltron super rappers. So right now
right,
I'm teaching some technique, I'm teaching some cadence, teaching some flow. It's a little bit of everything, and I believe that myself and my friend Life from Star and Life will be in the summer school teaching advanced techniques, which is my favorite shit to teach. Like, teaching motherfuckers how to rap backwards and how to fucking splice words into other words, and like,
right.
I love that stuff.
How long did it take you to master these techniques? And did you have to unlearn a lot of shit? Because for me, I've never been a fan of organized learning. I like learning the hard way, traditionally. But did it take a lot of work to kind of unlearn shit or anything like that?
I don't think that it was anything to unlearn so much as it is there were so many things that we were doing that we didn't know there was a term for it.
Right.
And you may say, okay, well, now there's a term for it, but you were doing it anyway. So how does it make you better? Once you realize this is how you do something that you've already been doing, and now you're able to do it on command.
Yeah.
Insert it where you feel like it's needed. It makes you dangerous.
Right.
It makes you spooky.
Right.
So now, like, I know how to write a verse. Like, even if I don't really feel like writing a verse, I know what 3 or 4 things I can do. We call them parlor tricks. I know what 3 or 4 things I can do to make other motherfuckers say, damn, he went crazy. That was the craziest verse ever. Even if I didn't put all my all into it. I know what they do that make it sound like a lot of times you'll hear people go super speed or go lyrical, miracle, empirical, blah, blah. And like, we hear it and we're like, that's a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yes.
But to the ear, it sounds like, oh my God, did you hear that freestyle from so-and-so?
Yeah.
And well, all he did was he root rhymed a little bit. He spliced one word. And
there's way too much about that. Yeah. Too much of that. I was always the person, like, out of my group of friends, they're going crazy over bars. I'm just sitting there like, be quiet. Let me hear this shit. I'm listening. Let me hear this shit. While other people are going crazy. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. A little bit of, sometimes I'm like, yo, that shit that y'all thought was crazy was made. It wasn't that crazy. Right. But nobody say that shit about my shit.
Let me ask you a question. I know, like, I'm sure for you, learning how to rhyme was a very personal experience. You know what I'm saying? Listening to other rappers, figuring out what you sound good on, what you don't sound good on. That's how it was for me. You know what I'm saying? It was a discovery process. What would you say to the person that says, hey, like, if you have to go to school to rap, you're not cut out for this? What would you say to that person?
I would say, do you love hip-hop? Do you love rap? You know, you don't know everything in the world. You go to school, you go to elementary school, you go to primary school, you go to middle school, you go to high school. Everyone is not born knowing everything. Yes, there is a certain level of innate talent that you're born with, but just because you're not born LeBron James doesn't mean that you can't play ball. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy playing ball, and it doesn't mean that you can't get better at playing ball.
Right.
So that's kind of the way that I view it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you know, there's techniques like spacing. I could have learned that shit way earlier, to be honest. So I do agree. If you're rubbing shoulders with the right talent around you, the right people you're learning from, you can accelerate. I do agree with it. I just know there's probably a voice out there. You may or may not have. I don't know if anyone's ever said that to you, but I thought I would take that side and ask the question. So
the rest of the cohort in advanced techniques spent 8 months literally in a group chat back and forth sparring with Mickey Fax and Chilla Jones. Like, you will quickly learn if your shit is whack, and you will step it up the next week.
Right.
Because it's gladiator school. There's no room for bullshit. You got to step your shit.
Can I ask you? Oh, go ahead.
People will help you be better.
Right. Those 50 techniques. Now I don't mind getting nerdy. Was that ever documented before, or like is that Mickey Fax put that together, categorized it? That's crazy.
It's so monumental. That is why this is so fucking important. Not only because documented for the first time, the same way that people can talk about cars, people can get into an academic institution and talk about sociology or psychology. Now, we as hip-hop, not even hip-hop historians, we as fucking rappers can say a word and we all know what it means.
Yeah.
Not a slang. We could all say glitching.
Right.
And we all know what it means. We're giving it a common language. And the most important thing about all this is that it's Mickey Fax and Chilla Jones doing it. Because if somebody from the culture does not do it, then somebody outside the culture is going to co-opt it or just take it. A culture vulture is going to feast off it.
Right.
So, and by culture vulture, I don't just mean like some old white man. I mean, somebody who's not from the culture, because you got people who look like me who still ain't for the culture.
Right.
Mickey's for the Chillers for the culture. A lot of gatekeepers do nothing other than keep the gate shut because they want to eat and they don't want to share that wealth with anybody else. These are the first motherfuckers I ever met that are opening the gates and letting more people and letting us open the gates so that even more people could come in, because it preserves the art, because they know they're letting the right people in.
Right. Yeah, no, and it makes sense, right? Because other forms of music have programs, have school around it. Sorry?
No, I was talking to them in the comments. I see Joel Santana slander. Put some respect on Joel's in the Dipset.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to ask you, the name Pendulum Ink, I'm going to guess what that means. Is it getting things to swing back to where they should be? Is that what's behind pendulum? Like, what is the meaning of the word pendulum?
That's pretty fucking dope. I didn't come up with it, and I'm sure that that's not how they came up with it. But it came from, there was a song with Mickey and Chilla and someone else. I forget who the third person was. But the song was called Pendulum.
Right.
And the ink was, of course, instead of incorporated, they made it ink like a ink pen. So that's actually, but from now on, we're going to say what you just said, because that's
like it?
Back to the old way that shit used to be. I like that. We'll give you 2 points.
Wow, thank you. But, you know, I also saw some of your content. I mean, you guys look like you're trying to direct the culture as well to a good place, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's why I thought maybe pendulum meant swinging back. That's what I was thinking.
I like it. I'm rolling with it. I'm going with it.
And by the way, I saw you have the tattoo of the logo on your hand, and it says LLL. That's some serious commitment.
Live lyricism, man. I live and die for this lyricism shit.
That's crazy, man. So I want to read the description of Pendulum Ink, because I think there's some cool things to dive into if you have the time. Let me know. So this is the description on the website. Pendulum Ink develops a direct path to enhancing an MC skill set and understanding of the hip-hop business by providing access to classes conducted by industry experts in the area of rap theory, lyrical and literary technique, content creation, branding, and hip-hop mental health. I wanted to stop on hip-hop mental health.
Yo, how nerdy does that sound? But it's so true. All of that shit is true, but it sounds... But I get it, because they want to make sure that everybody gets everything that we do, and you can't just put Pendulum Ink. We teach motherfuckers to rap better. Like it doesn't have the.
Well, the business part is important, right? Obviously, but the mental health part. Are you okay to dive into that?
Yeah,
what that means in this program. I have my own thoughts in it, but I thought I'd ask you: is what is there to teach about mental health in hip hop, in your opinion?
Well, we have someone on staff, Professor Jeff Walker, who's actually he is the owner of something called Rhymecology, and it's actually he teaches sessions. And what it is it blends hip hop and mental health, and it allows people to get themselves in a better mental place by using hip hop and hip hop culture to, same way like a therapist will have you write in a journal. Instead of that, you're actually using hip hop, you're using words, you're using the culture to talk about these things that most of us in hip hop culture, especially black men, especially people that grew up in the hood, we grow up talking about our feelings. We didn't grow up believing mental health was even a thing. It was always man up.
Yeah.
It was always, you'll be like, stop crying, like don't be a punk.
Yeah.
So now we're realizing like people are fragile. We're realizing that you can't just suppress all of these feelings and think that you're going to be a healthy, functioning individual. Even if you can, it's not healthy. Like you really, like whether it's your boys playing poker or drinking beers, you need someone to let it out and to actually talk with and talk these things through. There's a lot of trauma that we dealt with in the black community and even in the hip hop community that for so many years, because of the stigma, we never addressed it. And now it's actually being given a point where you know, we could be in a room full of tough ass rappers and motherfuckers be like, yo, I just got a divorce, B. Like, I'm working through this shit. And there's no judgment. There's just like, you surrounded by your homies, the same motherfuckers you in the cypher with.
Yeah.
And they're like, damn, son. I never thought I'd hear somebody else say that. I just went through a divorce last year and that shit was rough. And like, you don't even realize that other people are willing to connect and want to connect, but everybody's so worried about being soft, especially in a culture we pride ourselves on being hard. Oh,
yeah. I, you know, so it's about kind of getting to a place of better mental health by expressing yourself through your lyrics, through hip hop music. I was thinking of it, there's another aspect. Let me know what you think. You know, the images portrayed in the industry, and you could say maybe the industry's captured in a way, a lot of people would say that. What that portrays, sort of perhaps sometimes an unrealistic lifestyle of maybe jewelry or just being hard all the time or having like 10 bitches, you know what I mean, at once, that could also play a role on your mental health. And I was wondering like if that was an angle as well, or...
Well, that can definitely play a role on your mental health, but that's not really what Rhymecology is about. However, we do address stuff like that in other classes at Pendulum Ink. Like, we've got a Mickey class where Mickey Facts basically tells us about why rappers go broke. Tells us about how to get money off your publishing, how to not. Mickey even has songs that tell you, like, you know, like, I didn't buy my first chain until this time, or until I had this shit situated. So it's like, these guys are industry vets, and they have so much of a wealth of knowledge to share with us that it's just like, I'm a sponge.
Got it. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Wanted to talk about evolution of rhyme in hip hop. Like, I started listening to hip hop when I was 1986. I remember the first rap song I heard was Cool Mo D, I Go to Work, in Wild Wild West. I had Roxanne Shante on that same mixtape that my cousin gave me. I remember it clearly. I love like the old school flows, wordplay. Like, I can appreciate how much that shit has evolved. Is that what this course, this class is about? Teaching you the evolution, how like generations stand on each other's shoulders and stuff?
Even before that, the evolution of hip hop class, it talks about everything from the inception to the point where even before Cedric and Cedar, where Kool Herc was having the first hip hop parties that eventually birthed hip hop. We talk about why that happened. Why was the city primed for a new form of music? You know, we talk about how the Bronx was burning, like everything, like politically, and what happened in the socioeconomic landscape. So there's a way that we got to this point. So we start there, and then we're gonna make our way all the way up to what hip hop is now. Like, the last hip hop evolution class that we had was taught by Lord Finesse.
Wow.
He's like one of the, I mean, other than like Big Daddy Kane, like, he's one of the people that you think of as the originators of punchline rap. Him and Big Daddy. And the classes before that we had taught by DMC.
Wow.
Like, you can't get more historic than hearing hip hop history taught by fucking DMC.
That's amazing.
Like, there before hip hop existed.
Yeah.
So, you know, I love it.
I kind of feel like 80s hip hop in particular, a lot of people jumped on hip hop in the 90s when it was kind of blown up, right? But I feel like 80s, not everyone can appreciate 80s hip hop. Like, for me, I appreciate 70s hip hop, but because I wasn't there, you know what I'm saying? I think if you weren't there, you can't really appreciate it fully. Did you find that you have students that can fully appreciate 80s, like mid 80s, early 80s hip hop or 70s hip hop?
I don't even know if I appreciate all that shit. I'm gonna get crucified for saying it, but some of that hip hop was trash. And like,
oh yeah, for sure.
I understand that it paved the way for what we have now.
Right.
But for me, and me personally, and please don't fucking crucify me for this. For me personally, modern rap started with LL Cool J.
Yeah.
Anything before LL Cool J, I'm not really trying to hear that shit.
But a lot of people don't know 80s LL Cool J, like I'm Bad and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So I was talking with a friend not too long ago.
Yeah.
And his favorite rapper was Jay-Z. And he says, yo, that Big Pimpin' song. And I'm like, that's where you first heard Jay-Z.
Right.
Big Pimpin'. And you're telling
me
favorite rapper. So me, I grew up on Reasonable Doubt. By the time Big Pimpin' came out, I was like, this is all right, but it wasn't Reasonable Doubt. It wasn't volume 1. So you just got to realize different generations of people, we lean on what we're familiar with. Like the same way that we think that new music is trash.
Right.
Our music was trash, and their parents thought their music was trash. So, you got to. So,
I think, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but some MCs in the 80s were light years ahead of their peers. There's whack shit in every era. People act like there wasn't whack shit in the 90s or the 80s, or there was tons of whack shit. But yeah,
but they also had a lot of whack shit too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess last question I'll ask about the program: what demographics are coming into this program? Is it all over the map, or are there any clear demographics?
Every fucking demographic that you can think of. I was just teaching a class on splicing the other day, lyrical technique, and matter of fact, it wasn't splicing; it was a glitching class.
Right.
And so glitching is when you repeat a word or phrase at the end of a bar, but you change the setup so it means something different. So first earliest example of glitching that can be found on wax is Joel Santana. He had a freestyle in 2002 on Hot 97 where they call it the beef and broccoli freestyle.
Right.
And he was saying, beef and broccoli and a brand new pair of Timbs. I'm my beef and broccolis. You get left under the earth. That's the beef and broccoli, the grass and dirt. So he's basically switching the setup every time, but keeping the same ending. And I didn't realize that everyone's from a different place. So I said, you guys probably don't know what Timberland beef and broccolis are if you're not from the East Coast.
Right.
And they're like, no, we don't know. So I showed them a picture. I said, these are the boots. They're brown and green, so we call them the beef and broccolis. So I said, where are you from? They said, the West Coast. I said, you probably don't know that, right? No, we don't really wear Timberlands like that out there.
Right.
Another classmate, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Portugal. Yeah, you don't know what the fuck beef and broccolis are from Portugal. You like, and even somebody in Chicago. Oh, those are just called Timbs.
Right.
So it's different. It's like a lot of rap is regional slang. So we've got people from the West Coast. We got people from the South, people from the East Coast. We got people in Portugal. Last year we had someone in South Africa. We had someone in India. So how much do you really have to love hip hop? Like us, class may be at 8 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock at night, but you're waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning to attend these classes because it's on a different time zone than you. You really got to love hip hop.
Yeah. I'm still fascinated with how it's spread globally, Europe and all that. To this day, I'm still fascinated by it.
Pop culture is hip hop culture.
Yeah. So if you're still good for time, I just want to go through some highlights in your discography, and then we'll wrap it up if you're good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with it. My phone is dying, but I'm holding it on a charger right now. That's why I look like I'm different. But shit, you want to talk about me? I'm going to listen to you talk about me. Let's go.
All right, dope. So 2020, I grew up on Woo. We talked about that. 2021, thank God for the grimy. I felt like you got...
I love that. That's my favorite album.
Is it?
I think so.
I felt like you discovered your formula and got a little more comfortable on that one. Would you agree with that?
That was... I'm a big Griselda fan, and that was originally I was gonna call that album "Thank God for Griselda," and then one of my boys is like, "Yo, get off their dick! Like, don't call it that. Like, I get it that you like them, and I get it." And I'm like, "Yo, you don't understand. Like, they made it okay to be grimy again. They're bringing back the East Coast rap, and they're like, call it something different." So I was like, "Thank God for the grimy," And I think that's a better name for it than Thank God for Griselda.
Yeah, I agree. Fear of God Joggers, that was fire. Plug's daughter. Want to talk about your story raps here? You're rapping about meeting the Plug's daughter and getting welcomed to the family in a very dramatic fashion. Is this a real story, or is
Not
this?
a real story, because if I met the Plug's daughter, I would never put that shit on wax. And
Yeah, that
one thing I
makes
want you to
sense.
know about that song is that song is one verse and it's like 3.5 minutes. I did not punch that in at all. I rapped
Right.
that whole shit all the way through
That's
until I got it right.
dope.
Because that was before I believed in punching. Nowadays, I'll be
Right.
like, fuck that, I'm punching that shit in.
Yeah, that's dope. 2021, Pay the Rappers with Spec Arson. Is that one of your kind of classmates type of thing, or?
Nah, Spec is just a guy that I met through rapping on the internet, and then I found out he had an aunt that lived in Connecticut. He was passing through one day, so we met up, and we just basically became family. Like, my wife knows his wife. We hang out together. We've gone on vacation together. Like, and he's one of the illest rappers that I know. So it just me and Spec click, and he
Right.
works like I work. That Pay the Rappers album is one of my more commercial albums because we were focusing on just like making feel good songs and shit. But between me and Spec, the way we both work, we finished that whole album from nothing on a page to being mixed and mastered in probably like 2.5 weeks.
Wow, that's dope. Pay the Rappers, is that a movement that you've started? I thought I caught wind that it's more than a project. It's a
Yeah,
movement. Can you explain that?
Pay the Rappers started because I always said I don't want to sell merch with my name or my face on it, because if I'm another grown-ass man, like, why am I wearing your name or your face on my chest? Unless it's just really because we're friends and you want to support me. But I feel
Right.
like someone made a joke a long time ago. It was like, yo, this rap shit is stupid. All we're doing is rapping for other rappers. It's like there's no fans. Everybody that's a fan is a rapper. And I said, well, this is something we can all get behind. When you got
Right.
streams paying you 1/3 of 1 cent per listen, 1/3 of 1 cent. So you
Yeah.
listen to my song 3 times and I get 1 cent. Like, it's like, yo, fucking pay the rappers. I tried a migration to get people to move to Bandcamp, where people would actually pay you money for the albums and the work and the art that you put out. So that was Pay the Rappers is all about that. I said, look, even if you don't fuck with ShowRocka, even if you think I'm corny, even if you think I'm a bum, I
Yeah.
had sex with your girl, you mad at me, whatever, you can still support Pay the Rappers, because it means pay me, it means pay you, it means pay him, pay him. You don't gotta fucking like me. Pay the Rappers means pay us all. It's something that's bigger than me.
So is this something you follow? Is this a hashtag? What is this? Like, how do you?
It's
Is
a
this just
hashtag. It's a hashtag. It's the name of my publishing company.
got
It's
it?
what I put on T-shirts, a trademark.
Got it.
Like, it's just a move. I own the website, paytherappers.com. You can get my shit. Like, it's just what I.
For the most part, what I do after oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm saying it's just what I promote.
For the most part, what I do after interviews, I usually buy the artist's album and I just post the receipt, just to be a leader, you know, and this is kind of like lead by example. You know what I'm saying? I don't even put a caption on it. I just post it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Pay the rappers.
And I think the quote on the song "Pay the Rappers" sums it up. Think about it. You're crazy if you don't pay the rappers. How you think we're gonna make it if you don't pay the rappers? No support or repost, but we're your favorite rappers. Cut corners, bootlegging, just to play us after. That summarizes it right there. So yeah, and then you got Big Hoop Energy, where you're like supporting FemCs. Like, you're all about supporting your community, the community. You know what I'm saying? From project to project, and that's really commendable. 2022 grew up on Woo 2. We kind of went over the features. Overall, I thought that was one of my favorites of yours. I also liked the Aries one after that. I thought that you let go a bit of the punchlines and focused a little more on the flow, and it filled the space really nicely over the production. So that was actually one of my favorites. And then you got the blaxploitation track, Jackie Brown, Like again, you're always coming with concepts.
Yeah, Woo was a concept album. Woo 2 was a concept album, but like it's hard because you realize if you're a rapper and you want to make money, it's now a singles-driven economy. But if you're an artist, you want to make albums. So you kind of got to split the difference and decide what's more important, the money or your artistry. And you can do, but they don't always coexist. So like the albums I do, because I love to make albums. The singles I put out, maybe I actually expect to get a return from them.
Yeah. Got it. So I think that's all I wanted to highlight, man. It's been a real honor and privilege talking to you, someone with your skill set, someone out there living the life, embracing hip hop to the fullest, you know, allowing me to open a window into what you do, hopefully for some new fans and things like that. I really appreciate you coming on. Is there any last shout outs that you want to give, or news or announcements, anything like that?
Yeah, actually, first of all, shout out to Brucey. I see you just popping in the building now. What up to that bull, Fredo? What I wanted to say was I just appreciate everybody tapping in, new, old, people that have been rocking with me forever, people that's just starting to rock with me now. Keep rocking with me. There's much more in store. Today's actually been a very great day for me. Aside from the Snipes Challenge being placed in the top 8, I also just got news today that I've been accepted into the 2023 class for the Recording Academy. So that's the Grammy Academy. So now I'll be a Grammy voting member. So I can actually vote on the Grammys. I can nominate shit for the Grammys. So that's big.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I haven't even made an announcement yet. I just found out about it literally like a couple hours ago.
That's
so for me, something that I wanted to be a part of, so that it's another way to make sure that underground rap is still being represented at the highest level. So right, I'm gonna be promoting our shit. And if you got a dope ass album, I'm submitting that shit. You might get a fucking Grammy.
Thanks for breaking that here. That's dope, man. Thank you for everyone in the chat. Salute to all of you. Some of you stuck around for an hour plus. It doesn't go unrecognized. And thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Have a great night, ShowRocka. Looking forward to staying
thank you.
in touch and promoting your music.
You on the platform, like I said, anything you ever need from me, drops, records, whatever, man. You family now. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Long live lyricism.
Yes.